Hello everyone. I'm Ted. And today we will be discussing Chapter 10. Performance and Potential Appraisal. Let's start. 360-degree appraisal system. 360-degree appraisal is a system or process in which employees receive confidential, anonymous feedback from the people who work around them. The inputs for the said appraisal are provided by subordinates, peers, superiors, team members, customers, suppliers, and anyone who works closely with the employee, whose performance is evaluated by multiple raters, in question. The appraisal measures behaviors and competencies exhibited by the ratee over a period of time. The skills that are being appraised include listening, planning, and goal setting. Other aspects of behavior such as teamwork, leadership, and effectiveness are also assessed. The responses from different raters, subordinates appraisal, peer appraisal, superiors appraisal along with self-appraisal, are combined to obtain an objective assessment of the ratee's performance and behaviors. The feedback could be brutally frank but reliable and credible since it is obtained in an anonymous manner. As such, the quality of information obtained tends to be high. There is less scope for individual bias or prejudice coming in the way of an unbiased assessment. The emerging discrepancies between an employee's self-appraisal and the appraisals from others could be put to close examination. Such a probing exercise could uncover gaps and help the ratee to cover them up through efforts aimed at self-growth and self-development. Not surprisingly, over 90% of Fortune 500 companies have implemented some form of 360-degree feedback system for career development, performance appraisal, or both. Organizations like NTPC, State Bank of India, Titan Industries, Bajaj Auto, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories have reposed their faith in the 360-degree appraisals and have been using these increasingly in recent times. The method is highly popular in almost all leading IT companies including the likes of Infosys, Wipro, TCS, and KPMG Cummins. Advantages. It is transparent and free of bias. Employees get to know the perception about them from others' point of view. This helps them know more about themselves. Employees get a ready list of improvement areas from their customers to work on. Employees get to know their good points. This helps boost their self-esteem. The exercise helps improve overall quality of the staff because each is helping the other to improve. Disadvantages. Some people may fear retaliation if they give negative feedback. This is mostly in cases where the organization does not have an open culture. The system could prove to be complex in combining all the responses. Feedback can be intimidating and cause frustration and resentment, if the employee feels the respondents have ganged up. The responses could be mutually conflicting and may not match with one another, though the information could be objective. The raters may require heavy doses of training to carry out the exercise in an impartial, objective, and systematic way. It is necessary to create the right culture in the company before introducing the system. If many people are unhappy or their morale is low, the situation can turn disastrous as some staffers will become obvious targets. Anonymous feedback might encourage people to throw brickbats against a target and may use the opportunity to settle past scores. Moving next. Judgment errors. People commit mistakes while evaluating people and their performance. Biases and judgment errors of various kinds may spoil the show. Bias here refers to inaccurate distortion of a measurement. These are: first impressions, primacy effect. The appraiser's first impression of a candidate may color his evaluation of all subsequent behavior. In the case of negative primacy effect, the employee may seem to do nothing right. In the case of a positive primacy effect, the employee can do no wrong. Halo. The halo error occurs when one aspect of the subordinate's performance affects the rater's evaluation of other performance dimensions. If a worker has few absences, his supervisor might give the worker a high rating in all other areas of work. Similarly, an employee might be rated high on performance simply because he has a good dress sense and comes to office punctually. Horn effect. The rater's bias is in the other direction. where one negative quality of the employee is being rated harshly. For example, the ratee does not smile normally, so he cannot get along with people. Leniency, depending on rater's own mental makeup at the time of appraisal, raters may be rated very strictly or very leniently. Appraisers generally find evaluating others difficult, especially where negative ratings have to be given. A professor might hesitate to fail a candidate when all other students have cleared the examination. The leniency error can render an appraisal system ineffective. If everyone is to be rated high, the system has not done anything to differentiate among employees. 360-degree appraisal system. Disadvantages. Central tendency. An alternative to the leniency effect is the central tendency, which occurs when appraisers rate all employees as average performers. For example, a professor, with a view to playing it safe, might give a class grades nearly equal to B, regardless of the differences in individual performance. Stereotyping. Stereotyping is a mental picture that an individual holds about a person because of factors like the person's sex, age, religion, and caste. By generalizing behavior on the basis of such blurred images, the rater grossly overestimates or underestimates a person's performance. For example, employees from rural areas might be rated poorly by raters having a sophisticated urban background if they view rural background negatively. Recency effect. In this case, the rater gives greater weightage to recent occurrences than earlier performance. For example, an excellent performance that may be 6 or 7 months old is conveniently forgotten while giving a poor rating to an employee's performance which is not so good in recent weeks. Alternatively, the appraisal process may suffer due to a spillover effect, which takes place when past performance influences present ratings. Poor appraisal forms. The appraisal process might also be influenced by the following factors relating to the forms that are used by raters. The rating scale may be quite vague and unclear. The rating form may ignore important aspects of job performance. The rating form may contain additional, irrelevant performance dimensions. The forms may be too long and complex. Lack of rater preparedness. The raters may not be adequately trained to carry out performance appraisal activities. This becomes a serious limitation when the technical competence of a ratee is going to be evaluated by a rater who has limited functional specialization in that area. The raters may not have sufficient time to carry out appraisals systematically and conduct thorough feedback sessions. Sometimes, the raters may not be competent to do the evaluations owing to a poor self-image and lack of self-confidence. They may also get confused if the objectives of appraisal are somewhat vague and unclear. Ineffective organizational policies and practices. If the sincere appraisal effort put in by a rater is not suitably rewarded, the motivation to do the job thoroughly declines. Sometimes, low ratings given by raters are viewed negatively by management as a sign of failure on part of rater or as an indication of employee discontent. So, most employees receive satisfactory ratings, despite poor performance. Normally, the rater's immediate supervisor must approve the ratings. However, in actual practice, this does not happen. As a result, the rater goes off the hook and causes considerable damage to the rating process. Moving next. Effective appraisal system. 360-degree appraisal system. An effective appraisal system should possess the following essential characteristics. Reliability and validity. Appraisal system should provide consistent, reliable, and valid information and data, which can be used to defend the organization, even in legal challenges. If two appraisers are equally qualified and competent to appraise an employee with the help of the same appraisal technique, their ratings should agree with each other. Then the technique satisfies the conditions of inter-rater reliability. Appraisals must also satisfy the condition of validity by measuring what they are supposed to measure. For example, if an employee is appraised with the object of promotion, information related to his potentialities to take up higher responsibilities and carry on activities at higher levels should be supplied. Job relatedness. The appraisal technique should measure the performance and provide information in job-related activities/areas. Standardization. Appraisal forms, procedures, administration of techniques, ratings, etc., should be standardized as appraisal decisions affect all employees of the group. Practical viability. The techniques should be practically viable to administer, possible to implement and economical to undertake continuously. Training to appraisers. Because appraisal is important and sometimes difficult, it would be useful to provide training to appraisers viz. Some insights and ideas on rating, documenting appraisals, and conducting appraisal interviews. Familiarity with rating errors can improve raters' performance, and this may inject the needed confidence in appraisers to look into performance ratings. Open communication. Most employees want to know how well they are performing the job. A good appraisal system provides the needed feedback on a continual basis. The appraisal interviews should permit both parties to learn about the gaps and prepare themselves for future. To this end, managers should clearly explain their performance expectations to their subordinates in advance of the appraisals period. Once this is known, it becomes easy for employees to learn about the yardsticks and, if possible, try to improve their performance in future. Employee access to results. Employees should know the rules of the game. They should receive adequate feedback on their performance. If performance appraisals are meant for improving employee performance, then withholding appraisal result would not serve any purpose. Employees simply cannot perform better without having access to this information. Permitting employees to review the results of their appraisal allows them to detect any errors that may have been made. If they disagree with the evaluation, they can even challenge the same through formal channels. Due process. It follows then that formal procedures should be developed to enable employees who disagree with appraisal results, which are considered to be inaccurate or unfair. They must have the means for pursuing their grievances and having them addressed objectively. Performance appraisal should be used primarily to develop employees as valuable resources. Only then it would show promising results. When management uses it as a whip or fails to understand its limitations, it fails. The key is not which form or which method is used. Moving next. Potential appraisal. Potential typically represents latent qualities, such as ability to foresee opportunities and their impact on current decisions, ability to identify resource gaps, ability to perform tasks in a tough setting, ability to function in diverse settings with confidence, ability to see the big picture clearly, displaying a high degree of personal and intellectual integrity at all times, exhibited by an individual while performing various tasks/jobs. The objective of potential appraisal is to identify the potential of a given employee to occupy higher positions in the organizational hierarchy and undertake higher responsibilities. Potential appraisal is a process of assessing the strengths and weaknesses of an employee with a view to use the same as a predictor of his future performance. It can be a powerful tool of employee development. The process of assessing potential of an employee aims at answering the question whether the employee has the ability to handle positions with increasing amount of complexity, variety, and considerable amount of responsibility. If the employee is found suitable, then that clearly proves that he or she has the potential to rise to the challenge and deliver results. Potential appraisal helps in determining whether employee can be promoted to higher positions after a fair and systematic assessment of innate strengths and weaknesses. It can also help the organization chalk out a clear career path to most employees showing promise and potential. Imagine a situation when an employee with very limited set of skills and abilities is promoted to a higher level position. He fails to deliver results. The organization earns a bad name because incompetent people spoil the show and remain a permanent liability. There is no way to demote such people. If right people possessing right set of skills and abilities are promoted, most issues relating to motivation and morale are resolved automatically. People with lot of promise and potential can be role models for others, and if they get promoted, that boosts the spirits of other employees who may try to emulate and come out with superior performance expecting a pat on the back from management very soon. Potential appraisal is a future-oriented appraisal process because it helps identify stars quite early and pick them up for rewarding careers within an organization in a fair and transparent manner. Moving next. Purposes and techniques. Potential appraisals are required to inform employees about their future prospects, help the organization chalk out a suitable succession plan, update training efforts from time to time, advise employees about what they must do to improve their career prospects. Some of the important ways to carry out potential appraisals include Self-appraisals. Peer appraisals. Appraisal of performance by superiors. Management by objectives. Psychological testing, management games like role-playing, leadership exercises, etc. Moving next. Essentials of Potential Appraisal System. The following are some of the steps required to be followed while introducing a potential appraisal system. Role descriptions. Organizational roles and functions must be defined clearly. To this end, job descriptions must be prepared for each job. Qualities needed to perform the roles. Based on job descriptions, the roles to be played by people must be prepared, i.e., technical, managerial jobs and behavioral dimensions. Rating mechanisms. Besides listing the functions and qualities, the potential appraisal system must list mechanisms of judging the qualities of employees, such as rating by others. The potential of a candidate could be rated by the immediate supervisor who is acquainted with the candidate's work in the past, especially his technical capabilities. Tests. Managerial and behavioral dimensions can be measured through a battery of psychological tests. Games, simulation games and exercises, assessment center, business games, in-basket, role-play, etc., could be used to uncover the potential of a candidate. Records, performance records and ratings of a candidate on his previous jobs could be examined carefully on various dimensions such as initiative, creativity, risk-taking ability, etc., which might play a key role in discharging his duties in a new job. Organizing the system. After covering the above preliminaries, the HR manager must set up a system that will allow the introduction of the scheme, smoothly incorporating answers to some complex questions such as how much weightage to accord to merit in place of seniority in promotions, how much weightage to accord to each of the performance dimensions, technical, managerial, behavioral qualities. What are the mechanisms of assessing the individual on different indicators of his potential, and with what degree of reliability? Feedback. The system must provide an opportunity for every employee to know the results of his assessment. He should be helped to understand the qualities actually required for performing the role for which he thinks he has the potential, the mechanisms used by the organizations to appraise his potential and the results of such an appraisal. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. This video is brought to you by Bookstune. Like this video to encourage us. Share this video to spread the knowledge. And subscribe to this channel for latest update.